Thank you so
And
much, everybody. And hopefully, you get the idea that we are all here to help you enroll and to support you throughout the process. So, now let's answer the question we've been waiting for. Is it possible to learn English or to improve your English in an online setting? Is it possible to learn English and improve your English in an online setting? The answer is yes, it absolutely is. We haven't had all online classes like this before too. This is new to us, but I know many students who were in face to face with me in the spring and continued in the summer and this semester, and they have improved their English level. It is different. Yes, it is different, but online classes also have many benefits, as you have seen, in terms of flexibility. So now we're going to go ahead and see a little bit of some of the academic content and what you might do if you met your class online. So the first thing we're going to do is a poll, and I'm going to open the poll. Let's see if it works, okay? And this question is asking you, how many words are in the English language? How many words are in the English language? I hope you can see the poll. It should be on the right side of your screen above the chat bar. So the choices are more than 1 million words, about 500,000, about 250,000. So please vote and then submit your answer. It is anonymous. That means we will not know who answered what. um, so this is an example of a type of question or a way that your teacher might help you participate in an online class. They might ask you a question and you have to choose an answer. And it is some teachers use more like games. I can't really show like a whole game today because you need two devices and it's a little complicated. But we also have many like games and fun. Please go ahead and vote. If you haven't voted yet, it's okay if you're not sure. We don't expect you to be sure. We'll just show what some of the answers are. I'm going to go ahead and close it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And then now I have to give 20 seconds. Yeah, that's different from Blackboard. Okay, you get an extra 15 seconds to answer the question. And then we're going to share your results, and we're going to be able to see which most people voted for. And then additional activities to practice before we do our time. So most people voted for the answer of 500,000, about 500,000. And in fact, that is the correct answer. That was the correct answer today. So I'm just sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and that was just showing you how to use this. So we are going to be talking about words and vocabulary today, which is something we study in all of our ESL classes. And if you said more than 1 million, that's too big of a number. In fact, they said this is the number of words in the Korean language. So if you ever think English is difficult, just remember, I could be studying Korean. That would be even more difficult. The correct answer is about 500,000 words. Okay, that is a lot of words. And actually, it's a lot of word families. What does word families mean? Word families is a word that means that if we have a base word like communicate, there are other words that sound similar to communicate or that are similar to communicate. So I would like you to share your ideas for words that are similar to communicate in the chat. Teachers can participate also. So please type some, if you can think of a word that is perhaps a different word form for communicate or a different, something else that's related to communicate. I would like to see it in the chat. Okay, so I see the word communication. Very good. Great job. Anything else? Can anyone think of another one? All right, I'm going to just share some of these, and that is a way that you could participate in class. Your teacher would ask a question. Ooh, good one, Tatiana. Communicators, people who communicate. And your teacher would ask a question, and you could type your answer in the chat. So here I'm adding some different ones. Communicatively, communication, which you guys mentioned, communicative, and uncommunicative. So you see that these words have different endings, and in some cases, which are suffixes, and in some cases, a different prefix also. Okay, and that is because they are different parts of speech. For example, communicate is a verb. Okay, communicatively is an adverb. Communication is a noun. Communicative is the adjective, and uncommunicative is another adjective. So when we learn one word, we're actually learning 5 or more words, which makes it easier to learn all the. Okay, so how do we use this information when we have it? In our ESL classes, we use this information in reading, writing, and listening and speaking to practice using the correct word forms. So here you can see a type of activity that we might do in an online class. And it has 4 choices of vocabulary words. They will be used more than once because there's 5 spaces. Okay. And what we want to do is complete each space with the correct form of the word. And this helps us to be able to use our vocabulary, not just remember what the word means, okay, but use it in a sentence. So this short paragraph is actually about online classes. And the first question, so you can answer in the chat if you think you know the answer for number 1. How can teachers and students, in an online class? How can teachers and students, in an online class? If you know the answer, type it in number 1, okay? And this person said, communicate, and it's correct because we have can here. This is a modal verb, so we have to have a verb, a main verb to go with it. So how can teachers and students communicate in an online class? Let's try number 2. Is a major priority for all our professors. Would we say communication is a priority? Communicate is a priority? Communicative or uncommunicative? Okay, many people are saying the correct answer, and I will go and load it in a second. So this is how we communicate in online classes. As Kathy said, all professors are available by email. In addition, teachers by phone or text messaging. Would we say some teachers communication, some teachers communicate, some teachers communicative, or uncommunicative? All right. I loaded 2 questions at the same time. That's why I had to do it like that. So communication is a major priority. All professors are available by email. Some teachers communicate by phone or text messaging. Okay, finally, many teachers have online meetings like this meeting on WebEx or office hours. So you can have direct, personal, direct, personal what? What would you say for number 4? Direct, personal, what? If you're ready, you can guess. Okay, so here we have you can have. We're going to need a noun form. We have 2 adjectives, direct and personal, describing the noun. So communication is correct. Okay. And the last one, maybe the most difficult, number 5, being is not an option. Being is not an option. This is kind of a tricky one, but maybe you can guess it, and I will go ahead and show it because I want to use some time for another one. So you can have direct personal communication, and Tatiana, you are right. Being uncommunicative is not an option. So that means not communicating is not an option. Communicating is the only option. It is actually the most important for online classes. Very good about it. So probably most of you already knew the word communicate. And communication. Maybe for some people, communicative or uncommunicative was a new word. But my question for you, which is a discussion question, so you can unmute your mic to speak, is how do you learn new words in English? How do you learn new words in English? What do you do when you learn new words in English? So it's a little hard for me to see who's ready to speak. But if you'd like to speak, you can unmute your mic and go ahead and tell us your opinion. How do you learn new words in English? What do you do to learn new words? Always, Tatiana, thank you, Tatiana.
I learn new words in English by reading,
Yes.
listening, and communicate with others.
Yes, and in fact, thank you. This is why I chose vocabulary as a topic for the example class today, because it affects all the different skills that we learn in English. Okay, I also see a chat comment that people learn synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms are words that mean the same, and antonyms are words that mean different, the opposite. So that is another good way to study the class. So if we are a real class, I will encourage everyone to talk and make a comment about it, but I know we probably need to finish a little faster, and I just want to show you a few other things that we can do in online class, okay? What I want to say is a great tool for learning vocabulary is the academic word list. Harper College ESL students learn and practice the 2,000 word families on the academic word list. This is a list of words that people use for academic and professional purposes. Okay, I'm going to show you some. This side on the left is the general service word list. I think you know most of these words. Can, which, there, no, more, get. Okay, you know those words. But these are the academic words. These are the most commonly used words in college, university, and professional settings in the United States. Sometimes we don't use these words in everyday conversation, especially when we are learning a language. But when we know these words, we will be able to better study our major or better participate at work and in professional environments. And that is the type of thing that we focus on in our classes. I hope that's helpful to you guys. Okay, I'm not going to go through all my examples, but those are some examples of some of the words. So how do we study them? We look them up in the dictionary, and I will provide a link to this dictionary. This is an example of an academic word that uses the Learner's Dictionary. It's a great tool because when you click this button, you can hear the pronunciation, subsequent. You can also see the part of speech. And the special benefit of this dictionary is that the definitions are not more difficult. They are designed for students. They are written for students so we can understand them, okay? So I'm actually going to look at the adverb form of this, which is called subsequently. She graduated from college and subsequently moved to New York. That means after or next she moved to New York, okay? Subsequently, the drug was found to cause cancer. In this sentence, we can kind of imagine the sentence that came before, like they discovered a miracle drug, but subsequently, the drug was found to cause cancer. So how do we learn these words? Students need to practice the words. Maybe you have learned a new word before, and the next day, forgotten it. Okay, we have to repeat words many times to be able to learn them. So here you can see some sentences that my students wrote to practice using this vocabulary word of subsequently. Okay, so you can see, for example, Trish, I'm pursuing my computer science degree. Subsequently, I will finish my doctorate in computer science. So when we use those words and apply them to our personal context, we remember them more. And this is something we always do. Okay, so here we also practice them in speaking, and this might be the last thing we have time for. Maybe that we don't even have time for it, but we could, if we had time, do a teaching activity where a speaking activity where I ask you, when did you move to the US? And subsequent to moving, what did you do? So Tatiana or Fabrizio and Tatiana already told us they moved, or Fabrizio told us he moved in January, and subsequently he experienced a lockdown and a quarantine and a pandemic. Okay. So this would be an example of how we can use this information. Okay. I'm going to go very quickly because we need time for speaking, but this is, so I prepared this link for you guys and I'm going to send it to you in the chat. This has many different ways to practice vocabulary that you can use to practice your vocabulary in Harper College or just on your own. It has many tools. So I feel like I didn't quite give you guys enough time to talk. I'm sorry. But I hope that now you will be able to talk and share a little bit more about your questions about online classes. Is that okay, Sarah? Was I too long?